I'm Ben Muldrow with Arnett Muldrow and Associates, and we're proud to present the new Old Town Winchester brand. We began by looking at current investments that have been made in the community. We know that the city has recently undergone a rebranding effort, so we wanted to pay tribute to both the look, feel, and colors that they have developed with a deep indigo blue and a green. Then also we had to be aware of the colors that appeared on the wayfinding signage that appears all throughout the community. So there we have a red, yellow, blue, and gold. And we were able to hone in on two colors from each of those palettes to really create a uniform color palette moving forward for Old Town. Next, we began looking at typefaces and drew inspiration from some old imagery that we saw in the George Washington Hotel. So we landed on a primary typeface of a traditional style script and then a secondary slab serif typeface. Next, we developed what we call a brand statement. This brand statement has several different categories. One, we created an overall statement that we felt like began to stitch together a lot of the assets that people really commented on. But then we honed it down even further. I'll read that for you now. We are Old Town Winchester, the historic core of our amazing community, which is blossoming with activity. Once considered the edge of the great frontier, we are proud to be the oldest city west of the beautiful Blue Ridge. Our nature is our stage, and the fruits of this land have long been the fuel of our industry and the inspiration of our celebrations. We've nurtured great heroes. We are proud to be the first place to elect George Washington into office and remember with respect the role our land and our sons and daughters played in the Civil War. We've preserved our great history. Our stories ring true in the architecture that surrounds us, and each building has a story to tell. From Patsy Cline's home to the Grand Hanley Library, the George Washington Hotel to the Taylor Hotel, which will soon once again be the centerpiece of Old Town. But our history isn't over. Great things are happening every day in Old Town, whether it's our unique dining and shopping or our lively events. Old Town Winchester provides the perfect escape. We are Old Town Winchester. We invite you to explore our core, discover all the charm of a small town, and be comforted by the offerings of a big city. Get lost in our stories and begin to craft your own, and you'll see why we say Old Town. Greatness begins here. So we begin to see all these things tie in together, creating a series of imagery. We wanted to emphasize a uniform word type, so we used that stylized script to create word type for Old Town, creating some custom elements of those letters so they can be uniquely Winchesters. And then here we see 5 different layout options that allow us the opportunity to change the look and feel based off the audience and the image that we're trying to convey. Everything from a horizontal oriented design on the far left to the one that is encrusted by the symbology of a apple pie. We've got symbology and imagery that connects with all different aspects of the community, whether pointing down towards downtown as being the center of the community or paying tribute to the things that really make this community great. Now, we can't stop there. We need to focus on helping people to understand all the assets that make up Old Town. So we've created sub-brands for each of the streets around the community and being able to show off the different streets that make up Old Town. We've got to let people know that it is more than just Loudon Street. Loudon Street is a focus, but the streets that surround it make a vibrant, district. We also went on and began to explore brand extension, allowing us to integrate in different imagery, making for a more traditional look, being able to incorporate the tower of City Hall or even an apple blossom. But then we also have the opportunity to drop imagery behind the logo and create something more contemporary and more dynamic. Now, where it really gets fun is when we get to the point that we call brand extension. This is where the colors, typefaces, and overall approach to design begin to integrate into the events that go on in the community. Everything from Artscape to Holly Jolly, Chocolate Escape to Old Town October Festival, Old Town Friday Night, and a renamed event that we're calling Old Town Family Flicks. First Friday Celebration of the Arts, Rockin' Independence Eve. And together we begin to see a series of events that not only connect with one another, but reinforce the overall community brand. Next, we'd like to show you some collateral materials. These are some things that we'd love to see developed to really carry the brand to the people. We always think that being able to create merchandise is extremely important. Giving the citizens the opportunity to show their pride, whether it's a stylish baseball cap or a cap sleeve t-shirt for the girl, it is an absolutely amazing opportunity to give people a chance to connect, whether it's apparel, whether it is even making its way into shopping bags and things like that. This is an opportunity for the business community to begin to take this message to the people and profit on it in the meantime. Being able to show everything from street banners all the way into office signage, like the sign that might appear in our new visitor center. And then having a dynamic image that makes its way into our shopping and dining guide. We start to set a tone for a truly dynamic place in Old Town Winchester. We always like to round it out with some recommendations on what advertising might look like. Beginning with this overall look and feel, a very clean and contemporary look, but it also has certain traditional design cues to it. But we introduce this concept over and over of greatness begins here. And after we get that message out, we begin to make it mean more. Walkability begins here. Style begins here. Memories begin here. Class begins here. Relaxation begins here. Service begins here. Great shopping, stories, history, strolls. Now, the other thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to be able to create an identity that could be very traditional when it needed to be, but then could also be extremely contemporary, progressive, and pushing the edge. So we created a secondary look and feel to create a more dynamic impact where we can simply focus on the words and the texture that falls behind this logo, whether it's freshness, boldness, or greatness. With each of these, we begin to contribute more and more meaning to this Old Town brand. Great taste begins here. The Blue Ridge begins here. Greatness, color, freshness, spring. The image keeps repeating over and over. Old Town Winchester is one of the most dynamic destinations in the East Coast, and we hope that this system can help to connect the organizations and businesses that make this community great and can help promote this heart of a great community and a destination that all should see. Thank you for your time, and Have a good night.